Hello everyone, this is A48. Welcome to the Anglers 48 show. On this episode, we're going to be talking about my last fishing trip. And this fishing trip was pretty interesting. It was at Port Mansfield, and it was a fishing trip that we have been wanting to do for quite a while. We initially I was gonna do it on my kayak, and there was this one particular time when the weather conditions were gonna be ideal. I headed out that way, and maybe 3/4 of the way, I decided to veer and hit another island that was just finished not very long ago. It's a place that I had never been to. Didn't know too much about it. Wasn't completely sure if it was gonna be shallow, if there were gonna be any flats. So to go all the way over there and just be fishing in the deep, that wasn't gonna be working out for me. And that's how it was during this fishing trip, because that island that I went to, it was deep all the way around, right? There were no flats, no shallow spots. So this past Saturday, Tony and I, we went to Port Mansfield on his boat, and we launched from the south side. Okay, the launching, the recovery, it's not something that I love, simply because in Port Mansfield, several things. The launching area is very steep. You don't have a whole lot of room. You have to get out of the way because there's people, behind you trying to, put their boat in the water. And you have other people that are done and need to put their boat out of the water. So once again, I'm the one that deploys the boat. I'm the one that launches it. So like I said, Tony, I wouldn't be able to have him drive the boat out and wait for me. Like I said, I'm the one that has to do all of that. So, during the weekday, it may work because there's not much traffic. But nonetheless, we went to the south side. We got there maybe about 6 o'clock. We were lucky. We got some live shrimp. And there was nobody in sight. Perfect. I think there was only maybe about one airboat that had already left, and I told Tony, let's go ahead and give it a try. That way, it was still dark. That way we can take our time and unload the boat. So we did that, and very easy. The boat wasn't even in the water, but between the both of us, we pushed the boat off. And I went to go park the truck, and we're waiting for a daylight, and we got rained on, right? Little storm came in, soaked us pretty good, and all of a sudden, kind of daylight was coming around, and I was all soaked. So, but we headed out that way, guys, and like I said, not knowing what to expect. From what I've heard, it was good fishing out there. So I was concerned about hitting any sandbars. Tony's motor sticks out just a little bit, no tunnel, and I was just concerned, maybe we'll hit half a foot of water, things of that nature. But no, we were able to make it fine. The impeller was working. It was putting out water. So we come to the first mound, the first little island, tiny island, if you want to call it an island. And we started seeing a lot of movement. It could be bait activity, it could be game fish. So we're casting, and I start getting into the small reds. I start getting into the small reds. Almost every cast, I was getting something. Tony, he was casting his line, but he was getting all tangled up. He wasn't casting far enough. And that's something that I've been trying to get across to him. You got to be able to cast it a good distance. But once again, leave fish to catch fish. That's what I was telling Tony. Yeah, they weren't big, but we were catching. So I wanted him to get into the fish action as well. So we moved closer, right? We moved closer. I wanted to fish in between the East Cut Island and this little mound of an island that was there. We could see the bottom, and once again, we are fishing with a popping cork, right? So before we moved, we were fishing in about maybe 4.5 feet of water. So the popping cork, when it's suspended in the water, it's dangling, right? When we move closer, when you cast the popping cork out, it's actually, the shrimp is actually laying in the bottom. Wasn't moving, possibly catching some grass. So Tony really didn't like that much. It was okay for me because I was doing artificial, and I was able to get some reds off the bottom with cut mullet. So we continued going east, right? We stayed on the south side of the islands, and I saw about 2 or 3 more openings, and too shallow to even go to that spot. Once again, I've heard that there's oyster beds as well in certain areas, and I was afraid an oyster bed was going to be hitting the propeller. So we didn't have any success out that way. I saw a few anglers on the south side of the islands. When you don't know, when you don't have an idea, when you're just exploring, it's a little tough because the fish may be there, right? They may be in a particular area, and you go right on by them, right? They may. So we did some driving around. We stopped. We cast it. We were trying to see if we got any hits, and we didn't. So what happened was we ended up coming back to the original spot. We were considering going to the north side of the islands, but by that time there was like about maybe 10 boats scattered all over. Some of them were wade fishing. They had gotten off the boat. So we started kind of drifting. We started drifting, and we were drifting south, right? So the drift was going southwest, right? And I told Tony, this may be our best bet. We're making our way away from the islands, but we're moving. The water is not as shallow, and maybe a red here, and then all of a sudden, maybe like the last 30 minutes of our time, we started hitting the trout, right? And I was able to bring 2 trout back on the skinny end. Tony was able to bring 1, also very skinny. Got a couple of comments that the reds are out there, and I'm sure they are. But once again, we were experimenting. We were trying to see if we could get into a situation where, hey, here they are, and that didn't happen. Now, based on this, I don't think I would go on a kayak, right? If I do, it would have to be several hours long trip, because I didn't catch anything. If I would have gone, and I would have gotten on the reds, right? I would have come back with my limit and stuff. That would have motivated me to say, yes, let me go, but I didn't. So we're gonna continue. If anything, next trip on Tony's boat, maybe we'll hit those spots again. See what happens. And time, like I said, the time flies. It was getting pretty hot. We had gotten rained on, and then all of a sudden there's the sun, which I don't mind, right? I don't mind the rain, and I don't mind the heat. What I mind is the wind, right? I don't like the wind. So, but that was, like I said, pretty much it right there. I just hope Tony would have caught a little bit more, on this fishing trip. But once again, his bow did pretty good. The next trip, if anything, once again, it's my turn, right? To take, because he goes and then I take my boat, But like I said, we'll see what the weekend brings, because they're saying that there's going to be some kind of cool front. As much as I love, the changes in weather and stuff like that, it really throws off the little plannings that I have, because I really wanted to fish a little bit in the dark, fish my usual morning fishing. But if we get that cold front, right, and the following day or the next day, it's a beautiful day. How cool fronts, they clear everything out. It's beautiful the following day, like that. If we can have a day like that, then that would be nice, But yeah, I just wanted to touch up on that, guys. Bait. I was using my standard tandem rig. I was using the live shrimp, cut mullet. I used pretty much everything. The spoon, top water. I was using the top water. None of those worked. The only thing that was cooking was the live shrimp. That was, and the cut mullet, right? I was able to get 2 reds on cut mullet, and those reds, they were the bigger ones of the rest. So I'm sure there were anglers that were able to get into the big ones, right? Once again, I just wasn't fishing in the right spot, probably. And fishing there overnight in the future is not out of the question. Once again, one day that the weather's going to be perfect, like for 2 days on Tony's boat, that will be something good. Just dock the boat, take some good rods, a lot of bait, and see what happens. But I'll leave you with that, guys. Once again, this is my new podcast. It's called Anglers 48. Sometimes I'll be talking about different subjects, like what's going on as far as on my fishing trips, any mishaps, things of that nature. It varies from time to time. At least once a week, I want to be able to bring you something. If things get cooking, maybe 2 times during the week. But if you haven't checked out my video of this past weekend, check it out. And I have several other videos. Like I said, it's mainly inshore wade, kayak, and boating adventures. So yeah. Until next time, guys, from far Texas, on this podcast, the Anglers 48 Show. We'll catch you next time. Signing off.